This tutorial will cover the 2.1 through 2.3 review, and it'll really only cover the first page. The next video will cover the second page of this assignment. We're going to start off by solving just basic equations. Now, if you want to, you can pause the video here shortly to write down these steps for solving an equation. Now, you'll see them here, but when you're working the assignment, you want to have these written down. And the first step is distributive property. That's when, if you were here for our assignment, that's when distributive property means to multiply. We multiply till we hit the end of our parentheses. So an example, as you can see that I've written over here, is 2 times x gives us 2x, and 2 times 3, positive 3, gives us positive 6. And then I also have a distributive property to do right next to it, except instead of multiplying positive 5, you're actually multiplying a negative 5. So it would be negative 5 times 2x, which is negative 10x. And negative 5 times negative 1 gives you a positive 5. Now, once you do that to the right side, or the left side of the equation, as you can see, here's the left side, here's the right side. You also have to do that to the right side. So negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3. Now, our step number 2 says like terms on the left side, so you've got to combine them on the left side first. So a like term means the same variable and the same exponent. So 2x and negative 10x would be considered like terms. And I can combine those together, and it just becomes a simple problem, arithmetic problem, 2 minus 10, which is negative 8. But they also have an x attached to them, so you got to bring that down with it. Now, the positive 6 and the positive 5 also go together, and they become positive 11. On the other side, negative 6x and minus 3, those are not like terms. If there's no like terms to combine, you don't have to do anything. You just simply bring it down to the next step. So I'm going to bring down the negative 6x and the minus 3. Now, if you're looking over here at step 3, this is where we need to move the variables to the left. Now, to get my variables to move to the left side, I need to get rid of them on the right over here. So to get rid of a negative 6x, and it should make sense, to get rid of negative 6x, you need to add 6x, because the whole purpose is to make this equal 0. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0, makes these go away. But if you do something to one side of an equation, you must do it to the other. Now, negative 8x plus 6x gives me negative 2x, and I bring down my plus 11. On the other side, these cancel, and that was the whole purpose, was to get the variables to go away, and I bring down my minus 3. Now you're almost done. You're on step 4 now, and step 4 says move the constants to the right. So now, to move this constant value, and a constant value is the term without a variable, you have to get rid of the one on the left to move it to the right. Those cancel. Negative 3 minus 11 equals negative 14. And then all I'm left with on this side is a negative 2x. Now finally, I either have to divide or multiply. And here's how you know what to do. To undo multiplication, you divide, and to undo division, you multiply. Now the negative 2 and the x are attached by multiplication. So to get rid of that multiplication, I have to divide by a negative 2. You're going to divide by a negative 2 on the other side. Those cancel, and x is equal to negative 14 divided by negative 2 becomes positive 7. Now, if you wanted to double check this, you could totally plug this in. So 7 plus 3 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. And then on the other side, you get negative 5 times all of this. So 2 times 7 is 14, minus 1 is 13. And negative 5 times 13 is negative 65. And you just do that little math problem together, and on the left side you get negative 45, and you can double check it on the other side. 7 times um, 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15, times negative 3 is also negative 45. So negative 45 equals negative 45. We know we're right. That's how we solve equations, and that really only takes care of problem number 1. Now, we can use these skills to solve every single problem. So right now, what I would suggest is if you need to watch the video again, I would, and then give a shot at answering problem number 1. Pause the video. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to solve an inequality. Now I'm just going to write up a problem real quick. Um, okay. What changes this and turns it into an inequality, instead of having an equal sign, you have this less than sign. Some of these problems will have less than, some of them will have a greater than, and you can see what those symbols look like right here. And I'm actually going to change this problem to add this little bit. If you add this little bit right here, that's half of an equal sign. So instead of just being less than, it's less than or equal to. Now, I follow my same steps as you can see here. Steps 1 through 5, same as above. Do distributive property, so I have 6x minus 2 times 4, which is 8, 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8, plus 2x. And I don't have any distributive property on the right side, so I just bring it down. Now, do I have like terms on the left side? As you can see, 6x and positive 2x are like terms, so they can be combined together. 6 plus 2 is 8x, and I bring down my minus 8. On the other side, do I have like terms on the right side? Well, no. No, I don't. 10x minus 2, they're not like terms. You cannot combine them, so I just bring them down. Now, let's move our variables to the left side. So to do that, I minus 10x minus 10x. You can see that we get rid of them on the right, which means they're only on the left side now. So 8 minus 10x is negative 2x. Bring down your minus 8. Bring down that inequality symbol. Do you see that we've brought it down every single step of the way? And bring down your negative 2, because that's all you're left with. Now it's important to make sure you bring down a negative 2. That minus sign comes with it, so you got to bring it down. Now, step number 4 says move the constants to the right, so I got to get rid of this minus 8 by adding 8. I do it to the other side. These cancel. Negative 2 plus 8 is positive 6. Bring down my inequality symbol, negative 2x. Okay, now the negative 2x, or the negative 2 and the x, are attached by multiplication. So this is just like that last example I showed you. You divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Those cancel, left with x. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Now here's the trick. Extras right here. When dividing by a negative. So when you see this, I divided by a negative 2 and a negative 2. If I divide by a negative number, if that bottom number is negative, I have to flip this inequality symbol. So it is no longer a less than symbol, it is now a greater than or equal to symbol. Now, when you're dealing with these problems, we have to plot them on a number line. So I'm going to make a little number line here, and I'm going to start with 0 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and also on the other side, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Now, here's the thing. If you have just a regular inequality without the line underneath, it's going to be an open circle. If you have the line underneath it, it's going to be a closed circle. That means it's equal to it. So this says greater than or equal to. So at negative 3, we're going to fill in a closed dot. Okay? Now, if it happened to be, if we didn't happen to have this, then it would be an open dot. Greater than. So I'm looking for all the values that are greater than negative 3. Those all go to the right. Now, this will cover most of the rest of the page except for a few problems. Now, real quickly, if you're ever confused on a problem, like this, I go to my steps and I see here distributive property. Do I have any distributive property? Well, the answer is no. Do I have any like terms on the left side? The answer is no. Do I have any like terms on the right side? Well, the answer is no. Now, move my variables to the left. Well, I got to get rid of them on the right side, but they're already moved to the left. So the great thing about this problem is it may seem harder, but I got to skip steps 1, 2, and 3. Now I move my constants to the right. Now the constants are the terms without the variable. So you see this 3 out here. I got to get rid of it by subtracting 3. I do that to the other side. 3 minus 3 is 0. They cancel. They go away. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down your symbol. And you don't just bring down x, you have to bring down negative x. Now the number that's in between the negative and the x is a 1. So now when I'm dividing, I divide by a negative 1, divide by a negative 1. These cancel. X and negative 2. Now, if you noticed, I divided by a negative, which means I have to flip my inequality. So when I graph that, start at negative 2. Since it doesn't have an equals to sign underneath, it's an open circle. And less than goes to the left. Finally, the last type of problem on that first page deals with some fractions. Now, I'm going to put together a problem for you. Now, obviously, my first step is distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute uh, these fractions throughout. Now, when you're multiplying fractions, just a little background. When I multiply 1 divided by 3 times 2, you got to understand it's actually 2 over 1. So all you have to do is this. 1 times 2, which is 2, and 3 times 1, which is 3. So you just multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms, and you've got yourself your new fraction. And so when I did that, 1/3 times 2x would be 2/3 x. And when I multiply this, 1 times 4 is positive 4. And then I got over 1, so 3 times 1 is just 3. On the other side, 1 times 3 is 3. And then I still have that divide 4 times 1, which is 4x. And then 1 times 8 is, or 1 times negative 8 is negative 8 divided by 4. Because 4 times 1 is 4. Now, fractions are kind of goofy, so you might want to Google some stuff about multiplying fractions, and I'm sure you'd understand much better. But let's see if we can reduce any of these first of all. 2 does not go into 3. 3 does not go into 4. 3 does not go into 4. But 4 does go into 8. So I can rewrite this problem as 2/3 x plus 4 over 3 equals 3 over 4 x minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now, here's a new added step. There was no distributive property, or we did do our distributive property. There was no like terms on either side. So you'd think you would remove the variables. But I'm going to show you how we can get rid of the fraction. Now you see division here. The way we can get rid of division is with multiplication. So to get rid of a divide 3, I can simply multiply by 3. But if you do something to one side of an equation, you must do it to the other. Now I also have a divide 4. To get rid of a divide 4, you must multiply by 4. So I multiply by 4 on the other side also. Now if you notice something, 3 times 4 just equals 12. And 3 times 4 equals 12. So I'm multiplying by the same number on each side, and I've just created a new distributive property. So I go ahead and do that. And I got 12 times 2, which is 24, divided by 3, which is 8x. And I got 12 times 4, which is 48, divided by 3, which is 16. Now on the other side, I get 12 times 3, which is 36, divided by 4 is 9x. And 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Now, the good news about this is now I got a real simple problem. Move my variables to the left. Move my constants to the right. And divide by negative 1. Now this problem may take a little more time to work on. You may want to go through, but the key is learning how to multiply your fractions. If you don't remember, you can find many tutorials on that. And I just created a new distributive property in this problem in order to get rid of my fractions. And it just made our life a lot easier so that we'd have an easy problem to solve. Now, I will post a video tomorrow based on problems on the back side.